Adanté Pointer was a criminal defense attorney for many years. He's now a civil rights attorney, and he's based in California. Adanté, this case, it's almost made me cry several times just reading through it. Your thoughts as an attorney?
Well, as an attorney, I see that this is a man, a monster that needs to be held accountable for what he did to the fullest extent of the law. And it's the type of case, as attorney, you see, you just always come back to how it's so horrific that people can do these type of things to humans, to other people, to, in particular, a kid. An innocent child snatches innocence and frankly snatched his life. And so you could just there's a saying, there's a special place in hell for people who do things like this. And of course, he has to be tried and convicted. And that's the process that he's looking at. And frankly, he should be held accountable through that process.
It's unbelievable what the DA has described here. And yes, this man, Ernest Love, is innocent until proven guilty, but the allegations here are so beyond the pale. I just can't even imagine this poor child enduring what he endured. And you talked about accountability. I can't imagine somebody going through with something like this, that what is described in the documents and in the DA's statement. You practice criminal defense. What drives somebody to do such a thing?
There's an ability to almost like disassociate yourself from the acts that you're committing and the idea that you're doing this upon a child. Clearly, he's having to ignore crying, screaming, pain, the injuries, the blood, the just the brokenness of a kid. You have to have an ability to just ignore all of those things and continue on with your attack and your onslaught. It's to the level that most, if anyone, just would not even be able to withstand after just a short while of witnessing it, not let alone to be the one inflicting such corporal punishment and essentially death upon an innocent child. Is just, as you said, beyond the pale of reason. But these are the facts that have to be proven. And when they're presented to a jury, assuming that this is what they're able to prove up, and it sounds like the DA has a pretty strong case to be out in front, essentially making these announcements and to be presenting these allegations to the public, it's going to be a hard road for this defendant to try to escape culpability and responsibility for his actions.
Adanté, I'm a mom. You're a father. And we cover these things, these cases, and some of them are so horrific, but this is truly one of the most horrific. And I feel like I've had to say this too many times, that this is one of the most horrific things I've ever read about or seen. How do we prevent this? Obviously, Little Chance's mother trusted this person to watch her son, to babysit him while she was working, trying to provide for her son.
Yeah, this is one of those, as a parent, as a father, as someone whose kids are entrusted to me to take them back and forth, whether they're coming over to spend the night or we're going out for some sort of activity. You would never lay your hand on another person's kid, let alone do something in this way. And for him to betray not only the trust of the mother, but also the kid and frankly of society, you do not expect in your worst, most disgusting, if you will, dreams that something like this would occur to your child. And so I'm sure that mother is racked with nothing but pain and guilt, but guilt that she doesn't necessarily deserve, but guilt that any parent would feel because you weren't there to protect your son. You weren't there to protect your child. And so when people commit these type of crimes, there's not just the immediate victim who's affected. There's a ripple effect that goes through all the people who love that victim. And that person who was killed. And in this situation, the ripple effect, as you just said, it's affected us. And we didn't even know this family. We didn't know this kid. We didn't know this mother. But we do know what it is to act with decency and kindness towards a child. And this man turned into a tormentor. I mean, to beat a child with a piece of lumber to the point where they have gaping wounds, and then just to pour hydrogen peroxide on it and think that this is going to go away. He had to step beyond any type of sane thought and to think that you could do this and get away with it. He has to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
the allegations are sickening. Adanté Pointer, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it.